Dawson Blank, Executive Director MYS, joins me to talk about the 2021 Grade State basketball tournaments coming up shortly. So I got to be pretty excited, Dawson, that the tournaments are back on for 2021.
Yeah, it is wonderful to see that we are able to, administer the girls' grade state and then the 2 weekends of our boys' grade state to see all the excitement and the teams registering to participate in our 29th annual grade state tournament. 2 months ago, we didn't know if we would be able to do this. And, the work and the effort by all these Minnesota Youth Basketball Alliance member association leaders, their COVID compliance managers, and especially a big thank you goes out to our return to participation task force that's made up of leaders from associations around the state to kind of bring us to this point of in early January getting a return to participation for practices and then competition in mid-January. I think all that unified effort has really paid dividends for all of the organizations out there conducting their own invitational tournaments. And, for the last 6 weeks, we have been able to have successful tournaments administered by the local associations, as well as the tournaments that we administer our one-day tournaments. So it has been nice to see this this unified effort related to COVID protocols and everybody coming together with that manual and guide that was created. And we hope to keep that momentum going past this year into next year, because it's better that we're all together as a unified youth basketball community than being separated.
Sure, and it's been great. The effort. Everybody's to be commended on, just persisting through. I was kind of putting together a parent video here recently, and talking about, as coaches, as we've always talked to our athletes about controlling what you can control, right? And so obviously a pandemic and having seasons canceled and all those kind of things, and having all these new guidelines now are things that none of us control, really. It comes down to many times people making decisions that we have to abide by, and so it's important that that's a great lesson for the kids. And as we talk about conduct first environment being part of the grade state tournaments in the past, as it will be again this year. And now that includes all these different new details around COVID. So not only do we want to focus on conduct and sportsmanship, so the three emphasis points we've always had, remembering it's about the kids, keeping competitive energies in check, and always respecting officials and opponents are even more important now. But all of those things also apply to these new COVID regulations, the things about you got to, be at a certain time and go in a certain entrance and leave a certain exit, all those kind of things. And I know you guys have worked really hard at MYS to put together I think you call it a fan guide. Is that what it is? It'll have all those details.
Yeah, it's a fan guide, and then as part of that fan guide, it also has the grade state participation guide. So that manual was created to kind of put everything related to requirements and recommendations with COVID safety protocols all in one spot. And that was a lot of that work was done previously with the return to participation manual, working with the Minnesota Department of Health and a couple of individuals, senior epidemiologists Al Tsai and Jane Griffin, to get us to a spot where we know that their guidance is a part of that. It's not something that we're just putting in there just because. It's because that's what they need to have happen when we're conducting these large tournaments. So that, along with basically facility and game operations, from knowing what to do as a head coach or team manager when you arrive to your playing location, when you can arrive, what you need to do for check-in with the host representatives, along with our MYS tournament director, and then getting those wristbands, those designated a number of wristbands, to your team out in the parking lot. And then you will be able to alert them when it's time to come into the building, ensuring that the court monitors that are part of the host group, that they get everything cleaned up, sanitized, while other teams are exiting out a different exit. All this stuff needs to happen. So no matter what, we do not have congregating at the entrances or in hallways. That is something that is imperative for all of these events, that it's strictly prohibited to have any congregating outside of the buildings. And we know as we get into March, the official meteorologist of MYS, Jonathan Uhas, says
Yeah,
it'll be in the 50s and 60s in early March. So we know people want to have a tendency to stand outside and enjoy the weather, but we strongly discourage that. And there will be people at the entrance as door ushers or monitors, alerting people and directing people back to the parking lot in their cars.
sure. Well, and it sounds like, each of your sites might have some different ways that works. And so how can people find all this information? And you're probably sending out emails, but let's put it on here too, so people can go to your website and find it.
Yeah, so when you go to mys.org, and I will get that. Can you see that, Mark?
Yep.
Okay, so when you are on the homepage of MYS Grade State Basketball Championships, there will be a spot on here on this homepage, and all the information for your weekend will be there. We are calling it the Grade State Fan Guide. Within the Grade State Fan Guide, there will be special instructions for each playing location. So it'll be designated by Spring Lake Park, for example. And Spring Lake Park, it'll show you what tiers or divisions are being played there. It'll show you what is required. And then it'll also show you a map, a Google map, with what the entrance point is and what the exit point is. And on our website, there will be a quick grid too on the actual weekend of the Grade State weekends page. So if you're playing in girls Grade State, when you go to that home page of all the schedules, on there will be a grid laying out exactly what you need to do, or what you need to be prepared to do as you go to that location. So it'll be an exact door number that you need to go to. So you are aware of that. So we encourage you, we know it's a lot of stuff, but we strongly encourage everybody prior to the tournament to take time to read everything within the fan guide and any of these special instructions that we're talking about. The fan guide, again, includes the special instructions, the participation manual that will allow everybody to understand, if it's the host group, the officials, the participating teams, everybody will have an understanding what needs to be done at your playing location during your Grade State weekend.
Yeah, and that's awesome that you guys have taken the time to really detail all that out. And so it's the old proper planning prevents poor performance thing, right? So take the time, both coaches and parents, invest the time in going through all that information for the sites that they're coming to, so that they know ahead of time, what to expect, and things can kind of fall in place from there. So, and part of that too, I think talking about expectations again goes back to this conduct environment. So yeah, it's a lot of information. Well, take the time, invest in it. When you're in the building, respect everybody around you. Again, parents, hopefully you're just happy that your kids get to play, and show that attitude of gratitude when you're sitting in the stands. Do your thing, conduct yourself the right way. Coaches, remember that you're not there to officiate, you're there to coach. Keep the focus on the kids, teach them how to have fun playing the game of basketball, help them get a little better through the experience being on the floor, and let the officials do their thing. The officials are humans. They're not going to get it right. They're dealing with all these same restrictive things and all this mass information going on. And, so cut them some slack too, and just enjoy the experience. So hopefully, parents, coaches, officials, all the tournament site host folks, everybody can just make it a great experience for the kids, because that's what we're really there for.
we collaborated with Minnesota Hockey. MYAS and Minnesota Hockey worked together last November, and we came up with the slogan, "Be a good teammate," and I still think it applies. It's exactly what
Yep.
we're talking about. Do your part to be a good teammate. So for that, each weekend, you have all these teams, that we hopefully can make some lifetime memories. And we want to create a positive environment. That's why we feel so strongly about our relationship with Youth First, is because that assists us in that with those points of emphasis. And now adding, the COVID compliance piece to that, it's extremely important.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to 2021 grade state. Great job on pulling it all together, and great job to all of your host communities and the basketball associations in your alliance. And it's so important that we give kids some sense of normalcy, and getting them out on a basketball court is one way to do that. So good luck, and have a great tournament, and we'll follow through and get to recognize a lot of teams for their participation in a great tournament.
And I would just like to once again, thank everybody that's participated in youth basketball over the last few months for their time and dedication. It's been fabulous.
Perfect. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Dawson.